Hello, YouTube. Hope you're doing very well. I'm gonna try my best to keep this camera nice and stable for you guys. I wanted to make a very quick video talking about a concept that I recently thought about, which I think is really unique and I think can be very insightful and helpful for a lot of the people watching this video here. And it has to do with listening comprehension. When you talk to most people, I think most people would jump to the conclusion that listening is done primarily with our ears. Our ears are the part of the body that are responsible for listening and hearing, and therefore they are the primary part of the body and the primary thing that we use in order to understand what others say in a foreign language. And while this is 100% true, there's no doubt that this statement is true and this is a fact. There is a lot more to listening comprehension than just using your ears, hearing the sounds people are saying, deciphering them, and understanding them. There's way more to it than that. In fact, we actually have a much deeper thing going on, and we're actually doing a lot of listening with our eyes. So this thought occurred to me about a week and a half, maybe one week, maybe 1 week and a half ago, because I was looking for new songs to put on my phone. I was looking to download some other songs. And I was scrolling through YouTube videos and scrolling through different websites and listening to songs and thinking about them and seeing what I liked, seeing what I didn't like, going through a lot of this, right? And I realized something. A lot of the songs that I found that I liked were songs where they had a really nice music video, or where they had a music video that I thought matched up really well with the song and told an interesting story. And then it made me realize that, wow, wait a second. Most of the songs that I like, it's not just that I like the sounds of the video or of the song. It's that there's a video attached to it that I liked, or that there was some really interesting artwork behind the video that spoke to me, or there was something else aside from the sounds in the song in question. And I was like, wait a second, the same thing happens with language. You know, the primary implication that comes to mind here when it comes to listening comprehension and languages is that if you can't see the person who's speaking, it's going to be a lot harder to understand them. Anyone who's ever tried to speak their target language on the phone with someone immediately knows that it's way harder because you can't read their lips, you can't see their body language, you have no concept. All you have is their voice. This is why a lot of people, even myself, I remember now thinking back at it, when I took the DELF and the DELF and when I took the DELF specifically, not really the DELE, the DELF. When I took the DELF, and when I would take a lot of listening tests in Spanish, often they would be harder for me, and I never really knew why. I'd be like, man, I have no trouble understanding people speak. Like, why am I struggling in these listening comprehension? Like, I'm listening, and I'm listening to the audios that the teacher's playing through the CD player or through the MP3 files, and I'm like, I don't really get it. And that's what's going on, that I can't see them. Another implication of this whole concept that we're talking about is that how you feel about the person or people that you're speaking to. You see, when I first arrived in Taiwan, I arrived here almost a week ago now. Today is Thursday as I'm recording this video, and I arrived here on last Sunday morning. So it's been almost a week. I find nowadays I understand, with the homestay family I'm staying with, I understand the kids way better when they speak to me than when I first arrived. When I first arrived, I understood very little that the kids said. It was difficult, really difficult. And now it's a lot easier. It obviously could be because my Mandarin has improved, but I don't think that's the primary reason because, again, how much can you really improve in a single week or less than a week of study? Like, I don't think I've noticed a significant difference because of my level improving per se. I think really what's going on here is that I feel a lot warmer towards the kids now than I did when I first arrived. I have a much stronger bond with them now compared to Sunday when I arrived. As a matter of fact, Sunday I felt very uneasy around them because I realized I have very little experience having Mandarin conversations with kids. All of my experience with Mandarin conversations has been with adults. And the types of conversations you have with kids is very different than the types of conversations you have with adults. Not to mention that with kids, you generally will have a different tone of voice and a different cadence with your speech. And I have never really had practice with that in Mandarin. So I was really, really nervous. And I think that nervousness and the fact that I didn't feel close to them made understanding them really, really difficult. So at the end of the day, when it comes to listening comprehension, there's way more going on than just, using our ears and working on our ears. It's also about our eyes, and using our eyes to listen. It's also about how we feel about the people we're speaking to and like the relationship that we have. Do we feel like we get along? Do we have a good cadence? Do we have a good rapport? Do we have a good sense of flow between us? Right? Because when you do, it simplifies the whole process of understanding the other person. Because at the end of the day, language as a whole, and even as comprehension, understanding people, even in your own mother tongue, goes beyond deciphering sounds. Goes way beyond deciphering sounds and understanding the sounds that people are using. Way beyond that. It dives more into so many other soft skills and maybe emotional intelligence oriented things that are a little bit difficult to actually measure with our current day science and things like that. A lot of the immeasurable, unconscious kinds of things, which ultimately bleed very heavily into listening comprehension. So to kind of wrap this whole conversation up, I think a good way to finish it off is if you're someone who struggles with listening comprehension, I think you have to think about what's going on. You have to think about what's the problem. You probably have, very, very concrete, very, very logical, very, very measurable challenges that are causing listening comprehension to be difficult. A lack of vocabulary, a lack of grammar knowledge, a lack of practice with listening comprehension. Perhaps your expectations are too high of yourself. You're thinking you're bad at listening comprehension, but with the amount that you've actually studied the language, and you just don't have a very high level, which therefore means listening comprehension is going to be hard. So that's a real thing. But there's an emotional intelligence side of it as well. There's things like, do you feel any level of a connection point to the people you're listening to? I gave this example before in another video. I watched a Marvel movie. I watched Marvel's Endgame in French, and I understood 97%. Like, almost literally watching in French or watching it in English, there's almost no difference for me, which was crazy. Because I feel a solid connection to those characters. I know the world, the Marvel universe. I know it. I feel very connected to it. But when I watch some random TV show or some random whatever, it's way harder because I don't have that connection to the characters, to the people, to the actors, to the actresses, etc. So that connection point is a big thing to think about. So if your listening comprehension is primarily with video content or audio content, first of all, maybe do more video if possible, because video is going to be easier because you can actually see the people with your eyes. And second of all, maybe try and find something that has a series where you can watch more than one episode or more than one video or more than one whatever. And it might make it easier for you because you can start to build some kind of relationship or understanding or connection to the people on the screen, which is going to make your listening comprehension easier. Anyway, guys, I appreciate your attention. Hope you enjoyed the bookshelf in the background. And we'll talk later. Bye for now. See you.